continue this super tough visual novel. Not really, it's not that tough. Let's do it. So we just started a new part, so we completely got a not guilty from the first murder trial where we were accused of being the murderer of a professor named Josh H. Wilson, and now we're going to the next part. Let's watch the cinematic. Yep, it's Ace Attorney. Well, of the previous chapter. Okay, you don't have desktop audio. There we go.
With bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
So there's a snake. Okay, 9th January, 6 a.m. It's morning. On board the steamship Berea.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time.
Compos mentis.
This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. An in-cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes.
Sherlock
I presume
Sholmes.
you must have heard of me.
Okay, gonna lower the volume again. Doop, 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 doop. Oh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right in here. There's trouble in the air. Okay, I woke up. Something like that, just a guy. Wait, I can't move. Ugh, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, hmm? I don't know his Russian accent. I don't know how to do one. I had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You... you found me then. Da. We found you. Now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm? Sorry. Now you have been found. It's time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to be found out how cold the ocean is, hmm? No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato! Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha, you pretend not to know. You're a wolf in sheep's pelt. You're the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, this very cabin was both shut from the inside. His body? Whoa. Please, do not try to tell us you're doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. Kazuma! It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? This is flashback time. Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in there earlier though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your travel case on the floor. I thought I was gonna die! Yes, I still can't believe that. I really didn't think you were able to fit inside my trunk. You must have been even less a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point, surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. Anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yeah, but If the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason, then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over on the wardrobe's doors once you're inside. I don't know. Flashback ends. I've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. Wow, that's pretty sad. Poor Kazuma. I thought he was like a, like a protagonist group character. We leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Nah, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Sato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. There's something I would like to ask of you too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Kazuma's death. Okay, we're in discovery mode, so we're gonna look around the cabin and stuff. Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? And they found him. The cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via the porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you going to deny the charge? Even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san. You have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is still examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there's no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably, that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please, whatever you say, you're here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, but I was, He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. Exposition. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door? One was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and we managed to get inside. There was Kazuma-san, collapsed on the floor. The white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's just very hard to believe. This is very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, that's alright. My head feels so heavy, it's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, what do you want? Why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? Let's hear him. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have talent for it, and I assure you of that. But I really never thought about becoming a lawyer. Oh, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama is always saying the same thing. But he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then was darker than I've seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. He's stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me from becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What exactly what happened last night here in the cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I had always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? No, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around. My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm gonna find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to excuse me. Hiya! Hey, Aki and Peach. Good to see you, Aki. Welcome to the stream, where we were just accused of another murdering our best friend. So, we are Naruhodo, and Naruhodo Ryunosuke, and our friend Kazuma just died, and we're actually a stowaway on this ship. And so we are hiding inside his wardrobe, so we didn't even see what happened to him. And now the only obvious murderer is us, even though we were trapped in a wardrobe that said keep out. So it's kind of sad, and we're gonna investigate. But our friend Susato-san is gonna... Susato-sama is gonna keep us in check, I suppose, and she still thinks that it's us. That was the Susato takedown. That's a Susato what? What martial art form is that? Hi, Zelfor. Good to see ya. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, we should have just gone Narnia and escaped. I know. And then we've gone back to England, right? Sorry, prove it? I hope you're doing well, Zelfor. Let us know if you'd like any prayer, or how you're doing today, and if you're excited for anything. I can't believe that New World's coming out tomorrow, even though we probably aren't gonna play New World on the stream, and I don't have it, but it's kind of crazy that that's coming out. Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already? You achieved just a few weeks ago. You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Okay, we got this paper seal that says keep out, so in Japanese. We should be good. So present.
Yes!
Yes. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always puts it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case a cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So, naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you were sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you'll finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not so sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am? A musician? A magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you don't do anything that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you to use your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Does Ace Attorney count as a visual novel? I think it's part visual novel, part puzzle. Yeah. Puzzle, visual novel, courtroom mystery. With exploration point and click elements. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I'll avenge your death. Okay, let's talk with her. Puzzle, novel, and court. Okay, we talked to her everything, so go back. Examine this scene of the crime. We have this guy. What does this say? Shangji. That's the word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? You just burned him. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you are as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? Bing! Boing! I can move left and right with my head. And enhance! Let's investigate all the corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Okay, we looked at that. Let's look at the sword. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. and never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had worked very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone. I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Or Mikatoba. Susato-san. What do you think this is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, appears to have broken clean in two. Looks like a bell or something. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fashioner from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? Mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Beria. It essentially lists a list of requests from the cabin to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Hey, Missionary Gamer. Missionary Gamer brings up the verse of the day. The verse of the day is Matthew 6:33, which says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." In the context of that, I believe is at the end of the Sermon on the Mount. How are you doing, Missionary Gamer? I hope you're doing well. If there's any prayer requests you'd like, let me know. We're just playing this game called The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is a courtroom visual novel puzzle game with explorative point and click elements. It's one of my favorite series. I'm glad to hear it. Right now, we are actually accused of murdering our best friend. His name's Kazuma. We are Naruhodo. I keep forgetting. Yeah, our last name. But yeah, this is Susato-san. She's our judicial assistant who's supposed to help Kazuma in England. We were just in Japan and it's been 15 days on a ship, and we were locked in a wardrobe when Kazuma, our best friend, was killed, and it was pretty sad. Now you need to find out. By we, you mean her? Okay, that's not you. So, Susato isn't my character. My character is Naruhodo Ryunosuke. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be here. Because we were stowaway on a ship. So we were not invited. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. What's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked. Everything mown down at once. I wonder if... Well, I hope you have fun. Gotta get back to getting the controller back into Scattered Wisdom. The forward WASD controls is getting old, I see. Well, nice to see ya. Okay. I wonder if... Perhaps it was Kazuma-sama's during this morning sword training, you think? I seriously doubt it. corpse. It was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case? I wonder. Well, I just set everything straight up again. I don't like to see a mess. Why would we do that? Isn't that tampering with evidence? Ooh, I'm getting hungry. Little more hungry. These books are provided for entertainment of whoever's occupying the cabin, I suppose. They must be well looked after. You mustn't damage any of the ship's property. But it wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now. They're neatly lined up, and I can relax when things are in a mess. I can't relax when things are in a mess. Investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Let's look at that. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Can I use up, down, left, right to do that? Oh, we can do that. Okay. Click on that. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Yes. I see. It says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and when I was tossed on the floor in there... Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. Let's see what he wrote. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he hadn't even made it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means... What, he was in the middle of writing it when this incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be valuable. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama's departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important, something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Okay, won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Okay, have that. Just investigate thoroughly, but... That's done, that's done. Let's do that. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then, I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain, almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. It's in Russian, after all. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a form of script I'm familiar with. What does it mean? I wonder. Give the sword. Investigate it thoroughly. What's this? Like that. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? Dog, Susato-san. I ate the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. He didn't touch it. Which meant that all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Okay. We have a knife. Yep. Yep. Good. There's nothing on this table at all. Plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night, I went to sleep and I'm sure everything was still. Oh wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama? No. Okay. We had that, we had that. We're gonna go to the left. Okay, we have the weird thing. I meant to ask you a question. Magic of Voxel. What about Magic of Voxel? Have I used it? I've used it once, but I was not very happy with using it. It was workable, but it was tough. But it's kind of like just building in Minecraft, right? So, like, after a bit, you kind of get used to it. What would you like to ask about it? Do you want to buy it or something? Isn't it free? My kids are having a blast with it. The new version is very well done. Okay. Ooh. Let's look at that. This is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. You mean contraption? I read about it in a book I've studied that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Okay, missionary game set. I'm considering how to work it into Scattered Wisdom. It's a starting point for people to create things we add to the building mechanic. That's actually quite interesting to think about because I believe there's a game called Trove, which is a voxel-based MMO, and that one, people who the creator content that users submit, I think they use some kind of voxel editor either inside the game or like not a third party, but I think they have like an editor available for people to work with. So maybe you could do this similar thing where you can accept, you know, a user created content, user generated content, UGCs. You know. Really, that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes, in the interests of cultural research, obviously. User generated, UGC. Yeah. UGCs. Like Mario Maker. Yep. Alright, we rung the bell. And I suppose nobody comes for loyalty Japanese people. No, I'm sure that's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Okay, figure that out. Let's look at that. No problem, I will have fun. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator? A hole through which fresh air can circulate through the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must be connected to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear so. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it would be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough or something like that. I suppose that maybe that's it. Mystery. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. Thanks for the lurk. Appreciate it, just a guy here. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. How did he... You noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here. He looks suspicious and tall, suspiciously tall. No, Hassan, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. He's investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk to him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expected that you noticed already, but just in case, you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Yo, Langley, good to see ya. I'm doing well. We had some lunch, and then we started some Bible reading plan. We finished the day 27 of this. If it worked. If it didn't work, then nope, it didn't work. I thought it did work. But we have our Bible reading plan with Missionary Gamer, and we read through some Exodus, Matthew, and Psalms and Proverbs. It was pretty good. And then after that, we started playing some Ace Attorney, which is our visual novel puzzle with point-and-click interactions as well. Really fun. We loved reading the story, and it seems like a pattern where we always get called a murderer. So it's our second time. Yep. But I think wait, is New World out? What's going on? Is the alpha still open or something? What's going on? I have no idea. New World release date. Yeah, I have no idea. Someone's launched New World. Okay. Oh, please do. Okay, we're gonna talk with this guy. Converse. Examine him. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Wait, it's Ryunosuke saying that. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps we would be for the best. That would be for the best. Oh, okay. Oh, he comes. Greetings! I hope something. What exactly are you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Took a picture of us. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceived. I recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sword? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How did I know that? Perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. You perhaps managed to deduce something else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. AC88. Thanks for lurking and working. What? And when the Beribboned... Okay, I need to Google what Beribboned means. Beribboned. Beribboned. Is it beribboned? Beribboned. Decorated with many ribbons, according to Google. Doo -doo -doo. Doo -doo -doo. When Beribbon, the occupant of this very cabin, discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Huh. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits this bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. Oh, listen, there's no way I... Hiya! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. So we got accused of now being a Russian or something from Afghanistan with... I don't know. How can you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Forgive me. As for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ha! But was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that, huh? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy. It's the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. What's certitude? Google. Certitude. Certitude. More often than not, I'm right. Or I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How remiss of me. I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable. How do you say that? Inimitable. Can you hear this?
Inimitable.
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 Inimitable. Inimitable.
Inimitable. Inimitable. That's how you say that. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. That Sherlock Holmes. Slip of the tongue. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? You must ask him what he's deduced. Heh. He'll have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Let's talk. Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. I see you're German? Sherlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Yes, Ron's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. It's sent from England, especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist? You're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories you start to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake. I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Huh. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. Science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle reactions in this subject. A figurative glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furs, and skin. All these things are data. Right. The trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a short moments ago. How can you look into me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and deduction, and fame. That's what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Okay, wow. Okay, have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow, who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. I became anxious about Kazuma-sama's this morning. I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin doors open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And handcuffs seems to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really, 2 facts you say? 2 facts, your deduction. Alright. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let's be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. Elucidate. Date. Make something clear. What does elucidate mean? Sure. The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left this dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Gadorov, maybe the name of the killer, per a certain Robert Gard, perhaps? Robert Gard. But in the interests of thoroughness, he decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where he found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? Observe that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms were the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim on the message and I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Okay. So he has a picture. This was immediately taken after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. Oh, that's me. This is the first time I've seen him like this. You don't even know the murder weapon yet. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes. A train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining the train of reasoning to me, do you think? Something. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian? I don't speak Russian. Alright, let's get the deduction. Can we talk about your deduction before the things you concluded about me, I mean? Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, there's the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless revolutionary, Russian revolutionary, and assassin of 16 part. Ah, yes, more sordid details. It was fairly commonplace deduction. Now, here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made port call at Shanghai yesterday. Last night, the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian? Sound like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, violent Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Huh. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Oh no. Please. And might I add, your name does not appear on the ship passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway, which I'm not telling him. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds of the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There could be no mistake. Dude, do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. A little memento for this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all of this of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the courtroom record. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. What? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need it for someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Okay, what you were just investigating. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazma's desk, weren't you? Kazma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You meant you read it all already? It is my business to know what other people do not. I believe it. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Oh, you're about to know what Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Are you gonna throw the detective one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand. Namely, this diary belongs to the victim. It would appear that the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering. Dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, huh, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was that? All that show-off before? If you would be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged. My dear madam. Final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists just 2 short sentences. First reads, 1:23 a.m. I hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray go on. Second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the... ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Okay, hold on. Okay. Not yet. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall. It connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary had been entered into the court record. The mystery goes deeper. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for your time being, at least. Do you know somewhere to... Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great, detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So, yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? Why? A simple glance at your wrist would reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime subject in this matter, no? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking! You just said it, only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I would have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? Oh, I'm losing my voice. Need water. Lo, and behold, I'm drinking low water. Be right back. Well, catch you in a second. Or a minute. And we're back. Grading the teacher. You can get up 5 for new. It's true. Excited for New World, eh? Are you playing with the hideout crew? With whoever? I don't know if Jate is going to be doing the New World stuff. I think he got pretty mad at it and was like saying nah. But I don't have it, so I'm probably not going to play it, but I'm going to definitely watch some people play it probably. But there's also another like subathon stuff going on, so we'll see how that goes. Ooh, nice. You're an officer. Sweet. Okay, just eating snacks. We got some dried mango. Ah. Alright, what do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. Poor guy. And off he goes. Having just laughed at in my face, his sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you standing there for? Hmm? You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Are you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I... Hiya! Well, that helped. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I like that play on words. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find out a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Okay, we haven't talked to this guy yet, but I think there's still something to the left. Do we look at the bed? It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Are you really Have you really been living in the wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. No, I suppose not. Although it might have been rather exciting making this voyage in your secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out there in the cabin. No, sadly not. Okay. That has a check mark. This doesn't have a check mark. This doesn't have a check mark. Check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. Check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. Not check marked. So we went for help. The crewmen forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. I have a feeling we might know what happened. Maybe like the ship tilted or something and locked the door. But still, with the door bolted, there should be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. She glares at me like that. I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the outside of the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal. They seal together perfectly. There should be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The crewman. Do you mean he wasn't there before? Was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Or, probably because he's like, I'd likely get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is that something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes. You're right. It does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Oh, I think we know who this guy is. Yes? What can I do for you? Ah, we know. We know this guy. I recognize that face, but I can't be. What? It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, poor guy. Hello again. What are you doing? What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Nearly stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special order to go undercover as a member of the crew aboard the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I could do to help you, please ask. Never expected to see this man on board, but his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Let's talk. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Mr. Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, I couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. I never imagined it could happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asoki-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. If there's anything at all I could do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be... Oh, man, my voice is like confusing. You didn't do it, did ya? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabins next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. But if you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy looking seaman, would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible? To give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I could do everything I could do to persuade the captain to allow it, really. I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruto-san. Presenting me with a piece of evidence that you had already had in your possession. Evidence is just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Someplace like the present panel. Choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So evidence that I could give a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's present that diary. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looked like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band, that's strange. Yes, we're trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me, the ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. And we could investigate there. We might be able to work out what that speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove these those handcuffs though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. I promise you that I will lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asugi-san safe. That is the least I could do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment, Naruhodo-san. Just so I can move, then we can leave this cabin at last. Alright. See what we can find out. Okay, let's do it. You actually have to still talk to those two guys, right? Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me my Japanese people do not make jokes. But it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asked prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. In the middle of the sea, there's no chance of me escaping. Yet, you stay in this cabin until the next port. And it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. I can escape. Even though he doesn't let me. Nice trap down there. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Birya, first class cabin, passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, that's isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on a study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he's just sitting down. The door next to him leads to second-class accommodation. Suppose he's making sure no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks already. well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Cosmo's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Alright, let's examine everything. Huge book, there's a pen. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall I have a little look through it? Look through it? Writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. I think this will be important evidence. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. And nothing, no reaction at all. I thought you might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably, that meant there was nothing to report. Okay. This looks like the plan of the SS Beria. It shows each deck. Look. The Beria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind a while now, actually, but how is it that a huge lump of metal doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean? Well, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. They don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. And I looked on the wall. One light is off, but it doesn't matter. Look at the door. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman will surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry, I perhaps went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. There's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Let's talk with him. Doesn't his face look striped, like he got hit by something? Excuse me, can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh, we seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I mean, Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I'm senior crewman Biff Stroganov. Phew, that's the best thing, just to avoid eye contact, I think. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganov, about the first class cabin area? Here we have the finest part of Berea steamship for very important persons. What very important persons? Government official, kings and queens, traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid Stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. Fine. May I was wondering, is the cabin next door Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Nah? Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like a da. I think that's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounded like there's someone in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Let's ask about that next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Sogi's? His name is Mr. Grimesby Ward Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder student's boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Boylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Oylett came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time and never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, it must be rather important, isn't that right? That is not your business. Okay, last night. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Nah, all the time. So criminal like you cannot come in or get out. It sounds like yes. And that is yes. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student's boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Or something. I don't know if it said. Susato-san, do you understand that? It was clearly a no. It was clearly a no. I can't do girl voices. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong You didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Mysterious. This is enough. I cannot say it more now. Oh. It's time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles. when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Let's do it. Let's examine his chair. Because, no, there's nothing in his chair. Look at that. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's an emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. What are you doing there, Horo-san? You mustn't touch it. You mustn't touch it. Ah, I can't do that. This is an emergency situation. Look at these handcuffs. You know full well that wasn't what the alarm's for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'll be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Yep. Okay, we have check mark. This door. Mouse trap. A trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. Made from milk of cows. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it now, Horo-san. This trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. Okay, be right back. No, never mind. I'm gonna keep going. You're actually going to try it, weren't you? All I have to eat for the past couple weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Who are you? I'll find a little snack for you later. Okay. Look at this door. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin, not our cabin. That's Kazuma-sama. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? 39. Wow. This is it. We're finally at the door. This cabin is next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator which Kazuma-sama wrote is a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever is in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Let's ask. Knock knock. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. So annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. You have to break the door down. Mr. Holmes? I can't be stopped. What if it's an When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. Does it? Then how can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January, SS Bureau. First class cabin, number 2. We don't have time. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. Don't be absurd. I don't know. What does he sound like? As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. It's true. This true. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, he just screamed. Get out! All of you now. I don't know if he sounds Russian or not. Please excuse this intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesley Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I'm the great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself in the wardrobe this time. So I might be as bold to ask you to open that small traveling case. What? Don't be stupid. Could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my, did you see that? Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor? Mr. Grimesy Roylott? There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. What do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin. Get out. We could just have a quick look inside your travel case, perhaps. No. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. Wait, there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Oh, when I click here, it's just the wardrobe. You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh, and that seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, actually you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Closely. He's clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for Russians. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Yes, please. Well then, what are you waiting? What are you about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. That's a lot of greats. Could this man be more hackneyed and... I don't know what that means. Hackneyed. Where? We go. Here's what hacking means. Lacking significance through having been overused. An original trait. Of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is a fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or a Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read... It's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I've quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, and the other conclusion I have drawn. Oh, Fairy Winkle. Welcome to the stream. We are right now playing some the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and we are investigating a cabin next to our cabin in which the murder has taken place on ship. I hope you're doing well. What brings you to the stream? I'm Yoshi OST, or you can call me Andrew or Andy. This stream is mainly about prayer for you and everyone who comes along, and reading the Bible. So we actually read a passage, or we read from a Bible plan. So in this case, we actually have Bible. Is it this one? No, it doesn't work. If you type 365, you can actually join us in reading the Bible plan every time we come. And we also share the gospel with whoever comes when we raid. And that's the good news found in the Bible. And so right now we're investigating this man who we technically think is Roylott, which is one of the people who is in the first class cabin. And so we kind of just found him holding a scissor, and we also found a trunk that shook with like a sound, and so there's something alive in there, but we couldn't get it open because this guy's defending it, so we need to figure that out. Yeah. Alright. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you've been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruto-san! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholm's great deductions with my very own eyes. Yeah, rare generated. This guy's a real sus. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduct all there is to know about a person. What? Oh yes, I've been reading about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now, I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color that has drained from Mr. Roylett's face looks like somehow both Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain what I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So, do I cordially invite you to upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let's work through my deductions together. Ooh. This is a new thing. Okay. Old man's identity. Conclusion. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. That's probably his beard, or his hat, or his scissor? Okay, he has enormous shears. Kinda looks like sheep shears. Or dog shears? I don't know. And we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring at us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged this. Why would you desire to get rid of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, this answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front page article, in which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violin Bolshevik. Bolshevik. Violin Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. I don't think that's the right conclusion, honestly. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at the very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah. I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies there, where the furtive glance is furtive mean. Furtive glance. Furtive. Boop, 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 boop. Da, 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 da. Ba, ba, ba. That's what furtive means. To avoid notice, attention, typically because of guilt or belief, discovery would lead to trouble, secretive. It's false. It's the trunk. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. I think it's a pet, honestly. What could you possibly conceal inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. You're not well suited of a life of crime, are we? You careless Coop Doyle. I don't know what that means either. Coop Doyle. Coop Doyle. Coop Day?
Kudai.
Couday. A glance that takes in a comprehensive view. Well, the more you know. The more you know. Kude. Kude betrays you. Once again, you need only to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. But there's another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of Novovik, ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of an abduction. According to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapped a young ballerina. I doubt it. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Man. Big caps. Susatsu-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, here's a newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes. I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, a part of him abducting the ballerina, indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, this case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if he pushed really hard. We don't recommend that. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? Huh. The young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would poke out from the case. Some years ago, I read some pertinent, I believe, a troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithiness in their body. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of a small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in a circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. Like his eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic seem, well, off. The idea of little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one of the 2 keywords in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions. Yes, very tactfully. I'm sure if we could do that, we could unlock the true genius in Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man's a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha ha ha. It's not that funny. You and my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment. Look at your wrists. My wrists? What are your handcuffs? Huh? How did you... I felt that they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you're a marvel. Don't worry, I shall restore the shackles on your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact, I'd rather stay like this. So let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. I don't know. He is holding shears. verge of using shears to cut away the Kelpie's beard? Yeah, we definitely want to change that. Okay, I hope to get past this soon because I think I'd like to. I don't know if Surge Zeal isn't up. We're gonna host or raid Pastor Dustin. I'm not sure. Could you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong. Try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san. See if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. We managed to find something that fits the sense of Dr. Sholm's deduction better. Then what? I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Am I the one who has to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could do even to switch. Used to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Maybe his golden locks? I mean, I'm just gonna get that.
Yes!
You were on the verge of using these shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly doesn't befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. What? And judging from the length of the sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. If we had managed to cut it off the hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid of yourself these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. Evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Nope, I don't think so. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was a real young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry, you look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Strictly don't. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? Evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman, exactly he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it means the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes, let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts, as we understand now. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. It feels as though I've either read or heard of a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Well, we read about the thing. This is interesting. You found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. Nor can I. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess. Do you think? Interesting. She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you noticed this article. Ah! I need to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina from the Novavik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared the woman was in a costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susata's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is property of Novavik Ballet, which would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested an international assistance at all the ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, I guess she's the ballerina, right?
Yes!
Evidence reveals your true identity, of course. The ballerina. That's right. The nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novavik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we're finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of Novavik Ballet prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! Whoa. Did she survive that? Wow. I'm gonna stop reading the text in their voices if it's too hard. Because I am exhausted. You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Interesting. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing the most gravest crime. Proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly. Yep. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before her very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. This woman is a ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. Clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. That's right. She wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I see I'm gonna have to step in and fix a great detective's mistake again. Seem to look pleased, Naruto-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Noshima? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something here that shows that what this woman is up to.
Yes!
The tiara. You found. Proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara was worn on stage by dancers in the Nova Vic play, is it not? It's identical. If it's to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you. Gah! I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone. And I need money. Yum, 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 yum. I didn't steal the tiara. It was a present from, what do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must be extremely lonely. Alright, I'll tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this trialing case of yours in our presence. It's unreasonable to conclude there exists for some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? Dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, a very good idea of the contents of the case, even before I've laid eyes on them. Dear me, you're not well suited of a life of crime, are we? You're careless, coup de betrays you. Yeah. Once again, we only need to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books on the shelf. What? This completely changed tack with this deduction now. I think Mr. Holmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf in all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that that reason was why the young woman doesn't want to open her case. It would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly didn't cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. But there has to be another reason why she didn't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same area. If that's where her gaze involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Okay, I think it's here, honestly. These are the rules of the passage for travel or the SS Berea. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins, and strict pets are also strictly forbidden. There's exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure their punishment would be severe, Naruto-san. You'd probably be left freezing in the rain, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, we're just gonna present this one. Yeah. The reason why you would refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin, and pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. And that's the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move on its own accord, which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is your pet. Ah! Yep. Cool day. Hey Dabster, good to see ya. Ayo, hope you're doing well. That was a long thingy of logic, that's for sure. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Right now we found a stowaway, not really a stowaway, a girl who was hiding as a man, and she was running away from Russia. She has a tiara that she says she owns, but someone on the newspaper said was stolen from an opera thing or ballerina company. And she has a pet, which is banned from the ship. I'm doing pretty well. I am surviving on snacks. I need to eat some more need some real food for our lunch, so I'm hoping we can get to the end of this as soon as possible. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. She's Russian. Everything you said was correct. You absconded. You absconded. That's what's absconded. I forgot that word. I feel like I've seen it before. Absconded. Absconded. But yeah, we read through Proverbs, we read through Psalms, we read through Exodus. We had Moses been given what he needs to say, the miracles, the signs to convince Israel of him delivering them from Egypt and the Pharaoh, but the Pharaoh made it really hard for the Israelites and made them work even harder by gathering straw. And so in that case, they had to make bricks and collect straw, and it was really hard, and they're super conflicted. And then Aaron was also there helping Moses speak, and then we also had Psalms and we had Proverbs, and it was really great. And yeah, I would say that was pretty good. And then we found out that we were aboard a ship as a stowaway to England, and our best friend gets murdered, and then we got pinned for that murder. Kinda crazy. So yeah. And so we need to find out what was the last moments before that murder took place. What was Kazuma thinking of? Yep, he's gone. He's the one who's dead. And will we ever avenge it and find the real murderer? Yeet. So this one's abscond, and absconded is the past tense of it. Yeah. Okay. Now back to the game. During one of your ballet's company's performances in order to escape your homeland. So she escaped her homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Berea is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yeah, it's been pretty good. We haven't had too many questions this time around, but overall it's been pretty consistent. And, you know, we've been doing it with Mr. Missionary Gamer. We asked some questions in the feedback section of like what Holy Spirit was been telling you from the passages we read, and I've been getting some really good answers, and that's been helping me just take it to another deeper level. Really great. And I hope that you've been doing some reading and have been getting deeper with the word too. Yet, to a woman, here's no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is leave it alone. So, it was just you about to cut your own hair. Who was it that let out the scream you heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. So she screamed before we broke into her door, her cabin. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself? No. So no one could recognize me. Wow. As a result, you transformed yourself into a questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard, and just before you came in, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there's a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. Wow, that's pretty sad. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible, so I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometime, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It's my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say it to any of the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you, but in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright, I'll tell you. Yes, that's me. I'm Mr. Naruhodo. Wasn't it something? Mr. Sholm's great deduction? It was certainly something. I'm just not entirely sure that at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, but one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Yep. He's back in the wrist. Your hands are cuffed again. But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. Man, why? Still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say it can't be helped at the moment. Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. Can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what that speckled band Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Okay, let's figure it out. What happened last night? Yeah, did you know someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine. Oh, that's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking. Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about was last night was what I had done, whether they could find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Running away. So you run away from your ballet company, haven't you? Novovic Ballet. Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. It starts in the beginning of the year. So, the way that... I believe that the way the plans work on YouVersion is it starts on the day you click start the plan. But if you join us as a group, then our group specifically started in September, so they will start the starting date then. Does that make sense? Maybe that helps. I'll never dance again. I want to forget everything about ballet. I'll start a new life. So, Missionary Gamer, the one who worked on the Chapterverse bot, he's the one who's hosting the plan together. So, he's the one who started it, and I believe he did it with a few other friends. So, if you do ask him directly, I believe he'll be able to set you up, and then we can read it together. We're on day 27. We don't read together physically or audibly. We kind of just do it on our own. But it's kind of like, then we can talk about it with each other, if that makes sense. I know I used to do a reading plan together and actually read it together on Discord, but not with Missionary Gamer. So, challenging proposition when you have a striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara's mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovic Ballet gives us only a little food and water. We must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of the ship. They've all been too kind to me. They let me come on board and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that's indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates the most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... No problem, Dabster. Let's find out what the conundrum is. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now that being the case, it must have been last night you boarded this vessel. To the word, not to the world. I don't know if you're still trying to type it properly. To the word 2021. So this is a separate plan. That's the current plan of, there's like a group of people. It's like a movement to just read the word together. And so they have a bunch of people joining in. And so they just read that. And so that's an alternate Bible reading plan that I'm also down to promote, because it's just a good one that a lot of people are on. So it's not a small group. Rather, it's just a public group, like a public amount of people that want to do this together. So if you're interested in that, that's cool too. However, the SS Berea stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be on board? Aboard? Oh, now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? That's how the newspapers described one of my performances. That is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens. Because I am an angel. Did someone like drop her down from a parachute from a plane? Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heaven bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. Quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement from the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact. That guy is so egotistical in some way. So weird. Yes, Mr. Sholly. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell any of the crew. They found my precious. And the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison and throw you in your case overboard, no doubt. Ah. I don't know what bells sound like when you scream, you can't do that. What sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe adorable little rabbit? Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. Huh. No idea. Why is he so boisterous about that? I have no idea. Oh, you have to go, Lurk? No worries. Thanks for coming along, Dabster. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Sure. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call. Daily refresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it can satisfy the needs of sustenance. Eat it. So you eat your friends. I'll remember that. Our plan is to present some evidence. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, he wrote in the last night when he died something unusual. It reads, 1:02 a.m., 23 a.m. Hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few moments later, 1:35 a.m. It's like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh, Miss Pavlova, something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No, I don't know anything. What a mystery. Oh, somebody else is... Excuse me, Miss Roylott. Mr. Roylott. Guess what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to the captain's quarters at once, please. Please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passenger said out. Do you want me to throw you out? It looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. I wonder if we missed any evidence. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's event, we were unceremoniously chased out. That's to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. Alright, I think that's the first part.